Risk of Rain is a game series that is 2D and a 3D roguelike shooter. I will be covering both games in this, and the main focus will be the background story rather than elements of gameplay. I will be covering certain logs that I believe are very crucial information and what I take away from the log. I want to say I am not the be-all, end-all truthsayer. I can be wrong, and if you disagree, then feel free to make your own interpretations of the information given in the logs. I would love to have my mind changed. That being said, let's begin with Initial Invasion. UES Contact Light Environment Log. Log entry. UES Class D ship Contact Light is capable of carrying 8 million standard load crates in a single voyage. Freight containers of varying sizes can be magnetized to its cargo hold, with rotational drums stabilizing any disturbances that may occur during space travel. With 50 years of shipments under its wing, it's still a relatively juvenile freighter within the D suite. Recent restructuring has caused shipment schedules to be rotated among the lesser ships, with half of the Class A ships out of commission due to Redacted. The Contact Light has been chosen to deliver Redacted's previously scheduled cargo. A new captain has been assigned to oversee the journey, and we have placed agents on board for security reasons. Godspeed. I believe that the purpose of the Contact Light ship was to deliver the 8 million units and transport any passengers to a possible new home on the planet of Petrichor 5 after the previous ship had been attacked by an unknown great force. Pilot Survivor Log. Log entry. United Enterprise Shipping invites pilots from across the known universe to apply to our preferred Pilot Enhanced Commissions program. Benefits include access to cybernetic impact augmentations for easier landings, weapons and security certifications program, and luxurious vacation opportunities. Applicants expected to apply 5 years in advance of flight operations. Security certificates only valid through UES employment. All opportunities are listed as is, and no further gratitudes, opportunities, or benefits are to be assumed regardless of the updates to space maritime law on participating planets. Security recall. Event P1. Employee briefly lost consciousness while manning ship. Autopilot engaged and woke the employee. Event P2. Override. SOS. Hull being rapidly approached by unknown violent entities. Location: Unlisted Planet 5. Eject black box. Destination: Mars base. The ship still being relatively new, the pilot is at ease so much that he begins to fall asleep. While his guard is down, the ship is autopiloting. A cosmically touched being named Providence would invade the ship with an army of wildlife he has cultivated. Rallypoint Delta Environment Log. Log entry. Hey, if anyone can, my name is Malik Dillon. I was aboard the Contact Light when, oh god, the ship crashed, marooning us here. I've never seen anything like this. Monsters, terrifying monster, coming at us from all sides. We set up a base to try to gather up numbers, but it didn't matter. There's too many of them. I don't think we can last. If anyone gets this message, please send help to these coordinates. They're embedded in the message frequency. They should be. I don't think we can last much. Signal echoes. UES Contact Light. Many of the survivors of the crash are flung into a fight for their lives and are met with a resistance that is almost unmatched by anything that humans have ever created. Elders of species are even touched by the elements. Most of the survivors of the crash are dead. Providence Monster Log. I recognized him from security footage. He was the one who blew the cargo hatches open. He was the one who killed everyone. Providence, as I came to call him, moved faster and with more purpose than anything else I've seen on this planet. He must command great power, for he seemed to easily control 2 great gilded worms of species similar to the magma worm. Is he able to command everyone on this planet? I don't know his purpose or his reasoning, but he did not give me a choice. I had to kill him. So why do I feel like I made a terrible mistake? Why did we have a teleporter from this planet in our cargo hold? The Contact Light crew, at least the main crew, make their way to the crash site. They find Providence waiting for them, the being we perceive as an invader, ready to defend his planet. Most of the crew having found great power within the artifacts and technology found across the planet on their way to the crash. They defend themselves in a struggle that would leave Providence and his gilded worms dead, as well as the planet of Petrichor 5 unattended. Mithirix and Providence's past. Beads of Fealty Item Log. Beads of Fealty. Beads of Fealty Item Log. Log entry. The master of this world is a benevolent protector, our savior. Despite the natures of its various inhabitants, he has made a peaceful place here. Peace comes at a cost, of course. Some things are strictly forbidden. Above all, there is one item that cannot be tolerant. To possess it is to surely perish. A strange, heavy, and deeply entrancing set of beads that seem to speak with whoever holds them. To discover them among one's community is to create a dark, rippling panic. It is not long after they are found that Providence, the mighty protector, appears in a thunderous instant to pursue the owner and solemnly take the life he swore to defend. It is no physical property, the beads themselves, which provoke such a drastic response, but instead what they represent. They are a symbol, and to carry them is a dark promise to undo the world, to cast oblivion on all the people who find the final place here, all in exchange for a doomed return to ruinous ways. An elusive, sinister intelligence with whom these beads represent a pact seems known to only the bearer and to Providence himself. One thing, however, is known to anyone who has bore witness to these beads: a cruel cackling laughter that erupts as blood and coins of favor are spilled. Abruptly, silence as the beads are destroyed. Where they come from isn't known, but should you encounter these beads, you must leave far, far behind. Never look back. Providence didn't always feel such hate for his brother, but those times were long ago. Now he had only his beads, a connection to the moon, and a connection to his brother. He knew his brother would never forgive him, but he had to fight for his belief in soul, for Providence was adept with soul and saw its unquestionable value. He would still listen to his brother, though, a vague voice that would call to the beads, pleading just for answers. Mithirix Monster Log. Log entry. They knew to stay away from the wells, but they were just kids, and they just wanted to know. They threw in dirt and stone, and key fruit and starseed, watching as they collapsed. The gravity wells would swallow up anything: grass and mud and silver, wind, heat, pulsar radiation. When his brother wasn't watching, Mithirix would throw in worms. But only when he wasn't watching. You see, his brother loved worms. It would make him sad, but Mithirix didn't care much about worms. He was just curious. But one time, his brother was watching, and his brother loved worms. Mithirix was curious by nature, having visions of grand designs and wants of perfection. He could never understand it, though. His brother, Providence, however, grasped it with ease. Soul. Something so simple to his brother, completely foreign to him. He began to try to understand how to grasp the soul, and would throw worms into the gravity well. Unable to grasp the reaction his brother would have, in the end, he could barely even perceive the soul. By nature, he was designed for perfection, but the soul was designed by imperfection. Hidden Realm, Bulwark's Ambry Environment Logs. Log entry. I've begun to understand our universe, the compounds that drive reality here. I've prepared a demonstration. Come, look, brother. Now, look here. It's got a presence and a weight, round, with no features, no orientation. It is mass. Almost everything here is mass. Mass is boring, but required. We can take mass and shape it to form, features, angles, and intent. Look at the planarity of the surfaces. This is design. I love design. Now, a volatile one, a lifeline, sharp, blood, sharp yet radiant. Blood is heat. This is my blood, but there is plenty of blood in this universe. Now be gentle. Look closely here. Do you see it? Almost invisible. A thin film. Frail. It's not in this reality, but an adjacent one. I've heard you discuss this. Something you innately understood. What you describe as soul. Don't you love soul? Do you understand? It's your turn, brother. I've simply found the compounds. It is your hands that must craft value from them. In a conversation with Providence, Mithirix explains how he sees the universe to his brother, who silently listens. He explains what he has learned about Soul and his designs, wishing that Providence could realize them, unable to finalize them due to his inability to interact with Soul effectively enough. I will not hesitate to craft another cage to contain these pests you allow to play with our grand design. Surely you notice these creatures touch soul, and still you grant them such freedom. Why? Do they remind you of home? Of what we once shared together in our gardens? You don't still cast blame upon me so easily, do you? All because of that day? Those worthless creatures, those worms. Is that it? Are these creatures your new worms? Is that how you mean things to be? Do you love them more than me, brother? Answer me. To get his brother to understand the bigger plan, and to understand how they are both beings enlightened by the cosmos. Mithirix exclaims how the beings on the planet they find themselves on are lesser. Mithirix tells Providence that he will craft another cage, similar to the cage he made for another creature Providence empowered. Do your foolish ways truly know no bounds? Our pillars cannot save us from something like this. How much will it cost us for you to protect them from your own doom? You risk everything for these beings. They're undeserving of your time, your effort, and your love. Do you understand what we are? The powers we wield? It was not designed for this. I can't help but wonder if it's purposeful. My attempts to understand you have failed time and time again. Do you fault me for what I did? Is this my punishment? So be it. In your selfish, senseless fascination, you now endanger us both. No matter what they call you, you are not their savior. You are their ruin. Seeing the false recreations that the wildlife make in the image of their hero, he reaffirms his point. They are lower beings than him and his brother. Mithirix tells him to stop messing with powers that he doesn't fully understand, for they may be cosmic, but they must be careful. Hidden Realm. A moment fractured. Environment log. Log entry. My brother, it is done. Come, see, look to the moon. The first beacon shines brightly on the other side. There was no gap in its sequence. It has traveled instantaneously. We can cross the dark sea without succumbing to its sickness if we simply do not travel through it at all. Is it not a brilliant light of hope? Only your hands could have realized my design, brother. I feel truly now that there is no obstacle nor force we cannot overcome together with my designs and your constructions. While it pains me to see your heart still torn for the doomed, we are not among them. There is an entire cosmos for us. We can escape this planet, our prison. If your heart truly yearns to save, then surely more of our kind awaits among the other worlds, trapped by the dark sea. And to them we can offer the gates. When next she visits our world, I must ask her to take a gate with her, perhaps dozens. You should be celebrating with me, brother. And yet I see your somber gaze will not lift. Please, take the gate. Step foot on another world. Reap the rewards of your toil. Prove to the universe you are free. I cannot bear to see you in such a pitiable mood on such joyous occasion. If you insist, brother, I will go first. Forget about those creatures, and do not dawdle. I want to see joy on your face. In an attempt to get the morale of his brother up and to try to understand his perspective, Mithirix insists that he finish his design he made, and Providence delivers. The gate allows instant and immediate transmission from any two gates, finally allowing them to leave the planet they have been on their entire lives, to cross the dark sea they feared because, yes, they may be technically immortal, but if great enough harm should come, they can still perish. He insists that the lower life on this planet is just one of many, that if he truly cares for the soul, to find another cosmic being and enlighten them with the gates. Prime Meridian Environment Log. Log entry. Brother, raise your melodic head. She has left, but she shall return. Witness what I shall give to you and her. They are the start of 3 great works, a gift for us all. I see your sadness, brother. Your inattention hurts the designs we build. I build for us not only a sign of our friendship, but the tools for making our weight easier. Yes, 3 great statues built in our images to house our respective strengths. The first to catalog my great designs. Yours to hold and magnify your talent with soul. The last for her so that she does not know I am building this great gift for us. When she returns, we will celebrate and you will not be so. Your point is made. We will decide together when to reveal her statue, and you will have to say over where it will reside. I will even allow you to affect its design. If it will have you look more kindly upon your work, I will even let you hold on to my designs so that you may take time in creating these constructs. Remember, brother, despite your soft heart, they must be tools and shields for us to survive. They are nothing more than that. Good. Then go and bring our great works to life. I will inform you when the gift is complete. After the great discovery of the gates, Mithirix designed statues of himself, Providence, and the Heretic, who Mithirix had tasked with putting the gates across the universe. This would be a great task and wished to honor her with the statue, but Providence had made up his mind. The Heretic had studied the lunar and void arts. Mithirix would continue to insist his point about his designs and how they are pieces of a grander puzzle, being lenient enough to allow Providence to affect the Heretic's statue. Helminth Hatchery Environment Log. Log entry. Massive shining coils shift, red as mercury blossoms, revealing a sphere of bright molten obsidian glowing inside a bowl of red stone. 4 stories up, a large dark hand reaches through the glassless window, pets the coil, and brings the bowl inside. Strange tools of silver line the walls alongside endless artifacts freely given, intricately carved and tenderly loved. His tribute. He pulls an oblong clay jar down. A seal bearing his likeness breaks under his grip with a hiss. Inside the jar, crackling starseed thorns and dried key fruit skins. Their earthly sense fills the smoldering workshop. For the morning star, he reaches into the molten obsidian and pierces the bowl with a starseed thorn from within. A thorn for each fate forever changed. Many thorns, and many fates later. He taps the silver tool against the stone of the workshop. Red coils in the window shift again. A massive burning eye continuously takes in the room. Then its open mouth appears in the window. The sudden heat wave sending a song through the ceiling chimes. He places the spiked obsidian ball and pats its muzzle twice. The gilded worm is to take the mace to the surface. The obsidian coils in a shaft of putrid moonlight, collecting lunar rage and loneliness. For the handles, he wraps the rod of silver and dried keyfruit skins, an eon of freedom, lost to gravity wells long ago. Finally, he seals the obsidian weapon with a golden T emblem. His gift. No. His apology. He feared the worst. Providence had been unchanged. Mithirix failed to make his point. Mithirix could only apologize. He would construct a weapon to honor him, and to guide the wildlife of the planet with, using some of his favorite materials and constructing it with the strongest of others, a weapon that could destroy anything that crossed him. False Sun Monster Log. Log entry. A mockery of a greater being. See, brother, left unsupervised, your pets toy with tools beyond their understanding. Do you ignore their endless praise? I doubt it. Does it make you feel better about betraying your own? Pathetic. Have you grown so tired of foolishness? You wait to see what happens if you loosen the reins? Answer me. A false recreation of their hero, worshipped by the wildlife and given strength by Providence. A great storm of power, but flawed by the Heretic's involvement. Mithirix would exclaim his desire for answers as he recalled his betrayal, screaming for his brother. The Heretic Survivor Log. Log entry. A blue flash appeared in one of the storage bays of Contact Light. The chaos ensuing on the ship was a perfect distraction. As soon as Kurskon stepped out of the portal, she ducked into a sprint. She had no time. She weaved between gunfire and fireballs, between blasts of vagrant energy and onboard security systems. They paid no minds to the feathered figure as she darted through the closing blast doors. She quickly flew down the halls of the ship. Despite it being her first time on board a human vessel, she could sense the electromagnets in the walls and where they all joined. She corked right, shooting into the ventilation shafts with a bang. The captain barely had a chance to see her before she blasted sideways out into the control room. She tore out 2 wind blades as she reached for his pistol. The captain fell to the ground in intervals. Her momentum crashed her into the control panels, both feet digging deep into monitors. She didn't need those. Nimble, clawed fingers began ripping across keypads. She quickly split and rewired components, reaching into her feathered pouches for more bridges and other electronics. Various capacitors fell on the floor. The ship was big, but not complex. And more importantly, it could still fly. But she had to go fast, or he... And before she could finish her thought, he appeared in a flash of thunder. Blue and green reflected off his sword, cascading around the bridge. A cape fluttered, and Providence landed lightly on his feet. Kurskon bent her head backwards over her body, hands still tearing at panels. He was much faster than she expected, but maybe he would. Her last thoughts were interrupted by a crystalline blade. After Providence and his worms placed a gate on the ship of Contact Light, the invasion began, but she wouldn't be found. Jumping in the vents, hiding amongst the gunfire and panic, the Heretic made her escape, would ultimately be caught by Providence and cut into pieces. Heretic Lunar Item Logs. In order. Log entry. For her betrayal and her lies and her scheming ways, the Heretic was violently separated into 4 distinctive pieces, each to be scattered across the farthest depths of the moon. First, her many eyes were plucked from her skull and sealed in boiling glass, forced to gaze upon her failure, the evisceration of Kurskon the Heretic. 3. Log entry. Her arms were warped into terrible blades, so she may no longer find joy in study or tooling, the evisceration of Kurskon the Heretic. 4. Log entry. Her legs were scattered to the 2 poles of the moon, twisted in a wicked position, in a field of obsidian thorns. The evisceration of Kurskon the Heretic. 5. Log entry. And her heart, too wicked and full of hate, was where she once stood, at the side of her betrayal. The evisceration of Kurskon the Heretic. 6. A folktale passed on what would have happened to those Providence deemed heretics. He would claim that she had betrayed him for helping his brother Mithirix. The group that studied the heresy were all labeled heretics for the betrayal of the idol that the wildlife had created, for assisting Mithirix, who had already shown a distaste for soul. The second invasion. An unsafe travel. Hidden realm. A moment whole. Log entry. It is sealed. You do not have the skill to release this. It is a lock of my design. My design! It will not break, and it will not yield. The alignment of the gate cannot now be changed by one such as you. It will persist for as long as my treacherous brother lives. I have wasted my time in teaching you to operate it. A lock. My lock. Crafted by the hands of my betrayer. He has exploited and twisted my treasure designs into mockeries. My guardians that he continues to weave with willful volatility. My sentinels that he encumbers by his self-indulgent adornments and alterations. My gates, through which vermin like you ride to our infested home. Vermin like you, oblivious to our sacrifice, as you all cower from the radiant corpse that saved you. And now, in the greatest mockery he could devise, he has twice to use my own creations to erase me. My heart cannot bear this. My blood boils anew, and I will no longer be able to temper it. Your final task is rescinded. You have served me well. You have been hands where I cannot reach, my feet where I cannot stride, my eyes where I cannot see, and I have seen enough. Be pleased that I hold loyalty above else. When you so choose, the beads of your oath will guide you to my vault. Reach out to the monolith while clutching them. Do not let go. You will find yourself at peace, but more importantly, my servant, in a realm overlooked by the design of my coming reprisal. He would leave Mithirix stranded on the moon, and using a special gate that Mithirix had made as a one-way until tampered with, a lock that could not be picked, not even by Mithirix. He would make soul-based counterparts to Mithirix's constructs of war, the wisps and golems, a side clearly chosen, and Mithirix would never know the fate of his brother. Neither would Providence, only that he was on the moon where he had left him. Captain Survivor Log, log entry. A rescue mission? The old man leaned forward, scanning the document slid over his desk. His eyes paused on the collection of words near the bottom. UES contact light. Yes. He continued to read the document. Safe travels? For a rescue mission? As one of the few surviving captains of the old colony ships, he knew all the designations by memory. The Safe Travels was not a rescue ship. Any armaments? No. We'll have to fix that. With a sigh, he stood up, his prosthetics tagged at his joints. Despite being lighter than his original limbs, they always felt heavy. Let me guess. Top secret, right? Yes. He gave out another sigh. They're always top secret. But a smile crept onto his face. He glanced up to his old radio helmet. He's been bored in retirement anyways. A long and boring retirement for the captain of the UES Safe Travels ends abruptly with another top-secret mission. A rescue mission to find UES contact light as it disappeared after the crash. He is excited to finally get to go out and explore the universe again, as the retirement was getting boring anyways. His life is most likely prolonged by the cybernetic enhancements. Warbanner Item Log. Log entry. Heavy losses were expected. After all, the invaders were as cunning as they were deadly. The dust had at last settled. The golems had returned to the earth, and the Lemurians had returned to their tunnels. It was a long and grueling battle, but they had won. The invaders had been purged. The only proof of their last stand was a simple banner, fluttering in the wind, flying over a mountain of corpses. The stone golems, Lemurians, wisps, and the worms of Petrichor 5, in an effort to fight for Providence, to prove their loyalty, experience an unimaginable amount of losses. In an effort to defend their way of life, and successfully do for many, many years, until the Safe Travels crew comes looking. This would be long after Providence was defeated, and long after that single flag stood. But the fight wasn't over. Treeborn Colony Environment Log. Log entry. Beginning of excerpt flagged for review. Emil, where am I? What's holding me? What? Translated. Stop struggling, invaders. Your purpose is not realized. Emil. Purpose? Flying? What the? Vulture? Put me down, put me down, put me... Ah! Translated. Beatles, listen to your queen. Emil. My legs. I can't feel my legs. Dropped from the... Redacted. Sky. Redacted. Translated. Do we not watch the great Colossus? Do we not serve the wishes of the hero? Emil. Get the redacted away from me. Translated. Our purpose is to guard the great Colossus and the paradise the hero provides. We defend his as he defends us. It is our beloved duty. Emil. Insane planet with insane. Are we on a tree? Translated. Yet he is gone. Gone as the invaders come again. Emil. Great. Looks like a queen. Smells like a queen. I'm surrounded by the redacted worker drones. Translated. He is gone. His guardians aimless, and we... Emil. Bloody hell. Get off my leg. Step on me again and I'll kill you. Where's my gun now? Translated. The invader is a gift to remind you of the threat we face, and yours to handle as you wish. Emil. No. Wait. Get away from me. No. 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 A survivor named Emil had wandered a bit too far from camp and was caught by the wildlife and used as a sacrifice for the false son of Providence. They had grown out of control after their hero had fallen. Leaving them without a guiding hand, they would become vicious and feral, relying on instincts and the false worship of a false god. They would kill any invaders after the fall of the hero. Dieback Colony Environment Log. Log entry. Beginning of excerpt flagged for review. Adams. They just keep coming, Sergeant. Sergeant Wilby's. Activate all the drones and turrets. Adams. That's for the Rallypoint, sir. Sergeant Wilby's. You want to die to a redacted insect, Adams? Activate all the drones. Adams. Sir, the ones we just killed. Sergeant Wilby's. I see it. Reload. We have a few minutes before they... End of recording. End of excerpt flagged for review. After the pods had crash-landed, they were forced to defend themselves against the beasts, and in a conversation captured in the recording, they are struggling to fight back. The ones they do defeat are resurrected and continue the pursuit. It can be assumed that they perish after the recording. Defensive Microbots Item Log. Log entry. Captain, look out! A voice cried from the old man's periphery, but he knew he was in no danger. With a chirp, his companion Microbots activated and fired, disintegrating the fireball, just as it did every time. Quickly spinning on his heel, the old man fired his shotgun, decapitating the Lemurion with a swift and pronounced boom. I'd worry more about your own safety than mine, Private. The commando calls out to his captain, but doesn't realize the danger behind him. The captain swiftly ends Lemerion's life. His partner is always watching his back, so he has to watch his partners. His dynamics what allows this crew to persevere against the dangers of the wildlife. Monster Tooth Item Log. Log entry. Hey, nice duds. Where'd you grab those? Oh, this old thing? I've been making it, actually. Making it? Yeah, well, I found the first tooth in one of the chests, but every time we go on patrol, we typically run into more of those aliens. Once we take care of them, I try to pick myself out a souvenir, to add to my collection. Wow, is that, allowed? I feel like that's not allowed. Yeah, what the captain don't know, don't hurt him. Besides, it is cool, right? I guess so. I'll be honest, man, that's creepy as hell. Hey, do you have any more string? I might start one of my own. Most of the crew sent out to find contact light were either unsuccessful or were killed by the wildlife playing it too safe. The crew of Safe Travels would use the things they found along the way and would amass a strength that could rival even the strongest between the brothers, the king of nothing himself, left alone on the moon after his fall. Happiest Mask Item Log entry. Log entry. Sir, the coasts are back. A man sighed after a routine expedition of one of the crew members. A simple soldier had recovered an artifact thought to have been aboard the contact light. A simple mask adorned with a painfully happy grin. I'll take care of it. The man trudged down the halls towards the barracks. Lemurians he had killed earlier that day walked down the hall by him, barely earning a second glance from him. This had become so commonplace that most of the crew members in the block had grown accustomed to having a ghostly roommate. But enough was enough. Stepping through the ghost of an imp, the man slammed the door open. The lights were off, and in the corner sat the soldier. "Alright, we've had enough fun playing with the dead. Fork it over." No response. The man grunted and hoisted the soldier to his feet, giving a few rough shakes. "Hey, can you hear me? I said hand over the mask. I'm tired of waking up next to beetles, so give it a rest already." The soldier's limp body moved, slowly raised the soldier's finger, pointing directly at the man. "What are you?" With a sense of dread, the man slowly turned and saw the Lemurians he had killed earlier step into the room. Their mouths began to glow with an otherworldly glow. The man cursed under his breath and loaded his shotgun. "This planet, I tell you. Regardless if you end up on the moon and relieve the king of nothing of his duties, or you loop into a sense of madness, consumed by the planet, eventually finding your way to a place you don't belong. The only thing for certain is, you'll either be haunted by the ghosts of the lives you ended, or you'll be a ghost that's forgotten on a vicious planet in your struggle to survive." Conclusion. During the beginning of Mithirix and Providence's life, they would discover their powers and grow alongside each other. Providence realizing the affinity for soul he has, and Mithirix having an affinity for design. They would clash, growing older, and eventually once Mithirix would make a design of a gate allowing them to travel the universe. Providence would see his opportunity to fight for his belief in soul, and Mithirix's disregard of its importance in his eyes. He would even go so far as to eviscerate a bird-like creature who studied the void and lunar magic, labeling Kurskan a heretic. He would abandon his brother on the moon and scatter the different parts of Kurskan. Returning to his kingdom, he would rule with an iron fist. He would reap the rewards of peace and harmony, but only while his iron grip remained true. After his fall at the hands of the contact-like crew, the wildlife would become ravenous. By the time of the second invasions at the hands of the Safe Travels crew, the wildlife would no longer be on par with the strength under Providence, but would be free. Regardless of where the second crew ends up in the game, fate, unknown, or survival, what do you think of Providence's choice to cast out his brother? In my opinion, blood is the only bond that you should never break, and it was ultimately the downfall of the pair. Maybe you think Mithirix is to blame, but whether or not you do, it's your time to survive. For the wildlife isn't going to wait around while you read the logbook.